Hi friends, I'm Jeffrica.
And I'm Amaris.
And we're the host of the Stories We Tell podcast.
We created this podcast as an avenue to illustrate the stories that shape our lives. The struggles, the triumph, and the in-between.
We're going to be talking about topics like relationships, life transitions, and current culture. Thanks for joining the conversation.
Hi, welcome to the podcast.
Welcome back.
We thought that we would do a...
Christmas in January.
No. Okay, we are in the midst of an argument currently because Jeffrica's losing her mind. I am that person that once Christmas is over, it's over. 26, it's over. This girl gets hot chocolate and she's singing Christmas songs over here. And no.
With my heated blanket.
So Austin is currently under a winter weather storm.
Blizzard,
not. So we get some extra time to just... This is piping hot. I'm not going to be able to drink this. Probably the whole podcast. So hot.
Just blow it.
So we thought we would do our friendship podcast episode today, which is so fun. But we're going to start a little different today. Because I got sent a Crumble gift card today, and I was like, what better way to start a Galentine's podcast episode than with the Crumble
Taste test.
Taste test. Okay, so I have 3 flavors here. I haven't told Jeffrica what they are.
I'm excited.
And
I think one might be red velvet.
It's not.
Dang. Okay.
Not even close. So actually, I don't even know what this one is, so I'm gonna need to go get my phone. I don't know the name of them. Okay.
Are these brand new flavors?
Well, Crumble does new flavors every week, so these are brand new to me. I've never had any of them. Okay. So the first one is a chocolate cookies and cream.
Ooh.
It's a rich chocolate cookie slammed with cookies and cream pieces, then studded with creamy white chips.
The way my sugar is about to go through the roof.
These cookies are massive. So we're just going to take a little bit.
Just the piece.
Yeah. That's too big.
Let's have that. This is so dark and chocolatey.
Do you want a middle piece? Oh, there's straight Oreo in the middle.
Oh my gosh.
Do you like crunchy?
I'm good with this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ready?
Go.
Here we go.
I like it.
It's good. It's not... What were you going to say?
I just want some ice cream. Cookies and cream.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
Surprisingly, it's not way sweet.
Overly.
I thought it was going to be like way sweet, and it's not.
By the way, you can only eat a fraction of those at a time, like a fourth, because they're so big.
Yeah. That's good. And it has a nice balance of salt.
That's what makes it good. Because it's not over the top.
I'm really nervous for the next one. Oh no, this is the last one. This one I have been waiting a year to try, probably.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
And they never have it?
They never have it. Okay. This one is blueberry muffin. A breakfast favorite. A buttery blueberry cookie topped with a crunchy blueberry muffin streusel.
Okay. Never even thought of that flavor.
It is very...
It's so thick.
Interesting. I will say. It is very interesting.
Why are you looking like that?
I don't know what to think.
It's thick.
Okay.
Okay, that's your piece.
That literally just reset my brain, though.
Smelling it?
Mm-hmm. You should lay off the hot chocolate so your palate is cleansed. Did it reset you?
That smells good.
It does. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3. I like it.
I like it better than the first one.
Really? Mm-hmm. I like it a lot. It just tastes like a blueberry muffin, but it has the crunchy,
so
that's good.
The flavor's it's not overbearing.
This is...
It's a hint. I
it's
like
really
it.
good.
I'm surprised I liked it. When you said the name, I was like, it's good.
It's very good. It's muffiny in the middle and like crunchy like a cookie. It's
and
good.
it has a little icing on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
With like actual blueberry pieces in there.
And it's not too sweet. Drum roll.
My stomach already hurts. This last one is the moment we've been waiting for.
Okay.
Churro.
Oh, wow. Was not thinking churros.
Churro.
Churro and a cookie.
Churro and a cookie.
Okay.
It is nicely iced.
I won't judge it.
Okay. This one's going to be a little hard to maneuver.
It's a lot of icing on there.
It is.
On top of it.
It is. Here. This is not going well. It smells delicious. Can you smell it?
Okay, I can smell it.
Okay.
Okay.
1,
It's so messy.
2, 3. There was no way I could eat more than the bite that I just took of this cookie.
With all the icing.
It is so rich.
The icing's over the top.
The flavor's good.
Flavor's great.
Mm-hmm.
I would love the flavor without the icing.
The flavor's amazing.
I want the real churro, though.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind this.
Okay.
Scrape the icing off. Not all of it, but like 99% of it.
Or lick it off.
It's so good. It's good. I like it.
No bad cookies.
Worth waiting a year for? Not sure, but... Okay, rank them.
Number 1, blueberry.
Hmm.
I would actually say number 2, churros.
Me too.
Surprisingly. And then the Oreo.
Same. I agree with that. I need to
Not drink hot chocolate.
go on a fast after that. That was insane.
That's all we could have of that.
I need Jesus to come and cleanse my heart and life
Wow.
after that. That
And
was so
palate.
sweet.
And palate.
But fun. Yay.
But what's your favorite flavor outside of these that we had tonight? What do you typically get at Crumble?
Okay. Crumble.
Do you have to think about it? I'm surprised.
Crumble has the almond flavored cookie, the sugar cookie.
Oh.
And it's almond flavored, which is my favorite flavor. Like wedding cake is that same flavor. So I'd have to say that, but it's not, it's way too sweet. It's like not super enjoyable, but it would be my fallback. What about you?
Interesting. Well, the very first time I ever had Crumble was when I came to Austin. You introduced me to Crumble.
And you had
My first trip.
the
Yes.
oatmeal.
Yes. The oatmeal chocolate chip. To die for.
Okay, their normal chocolate chip is horrible.
Yes.
It's so sweet because they use milk chocolate. Horrible. That
oatmeal
was
It's my favorite.
perfectly flavored.
Hands down.
That was
I was willing to go in the sugar coma for that cookie.
It was
so
good.
good.
Yeah.
That's the only one I want now.
Oh, that's good.
Look at you.
That was way too sweet. I'm still not okay. Okay, so we're talking about friendship today, which is
Hi,
so
friend.
awesome. So maybe let's talk about how we met and like how our friendship has developed and evolved, and just like some points that people can take as handles on friendship, like whatever we come up
I'm
with.
excited for this conversation. One, because I don't think we've ever really talked about our story, like how we met each other, how we felt, the moments. Like, I don't think we ever really talked about that. And so there's something I want to share with you.
She told me this, and I was like, anytime my friends are like, do you remember when you said? I'm like, no, I don't, because I just say stuff and then it comes back to bite me. So I'm very interested to hear.
I'm excited.
Okay.
It's so interesting because I don't remember, like, sadly, the first time I laid eyes on you.
Me
Like,
too.
I think it may have been when you were at Faith Church in the kids' wing when you flew down to visit
Oh, okay.
in Florida. Like, you were shouting Radiance or something. I think that may have been the first time I saw you. I don't know. Like, I'm questioning myself, like, when did we become friends? Like, was there a moment when this happened?
Yeah.
But I do remember, I was in the middle of a lease. My lease was getting ready to end, and I know you were looking for a place too. And so that's kind of how our paths crossed, and we kind of joined up together. But I remember the specific day. I was in my bathroom, and I was praying because I didn't know what I was going to do when my lease ended. So I was like, I don't know if I'm going to renew, but I would love to have a roommate because rent in West Palm is super high, and like I don't want to do this by myself again. And I remember being in the bathroom and I prayed to God. I said, I was thinking about you and I was thinking about asking you to be my roommate. But I was like, Lord, I don't know. Like, I was just scared. I was like, I don't know if I should, because I have trauma, to be honest with you. Like, I have lived with previous friends, quote unquote, and it was hell. And so I was scared. I was like, I don't want to ruin anything, but I don't really know her, so maybe it wouldn't matter. And I remember being in the bathroom. I said, Lord, if we're supposed to be roommates, have her reach out to me. Like, have her initiate it. That was my prayer. And it may have been the same day, within a few hours, or it may have been the next day. It was really close. It was either the same day or the next day. You reached out to me and you asked me the question of, what do you think about rooming together?
Wow.
And that was my answered prayer. I was like, it was supposed to be have her initiated, because I was scared.
That's so crazy.
And you didn't know.
I did not know.
So,
I mean,
yes.
Years later, I'm finding out. I didn't know. Wow.
Yes, that's what happened. Yeah, because I was thinking about it too, but I didn't know if you were thinking about it, because we never talked about it until you sent a message and I was like, hey.
I have zero recollection of that.
See? Yeah.
I don't have any clue how we became roommates.
How did we live together?
I have no idea how we have an apartment together.
Outside of that,
but I do know that we did not know each other super well before we lived together.
Not at all.
But our friendship clearly grew over that time.
Yes, agreed. Like, I think that's what made me more comfortable doing it, because I was like, well, if it doesn't work out, I don't really know her. And we're not friends. Yes, yeah. We're not even close, so I guess it wouldn't matter. But literally it's turned out to be one of the best decisions of life.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I don't even remember what year was that. That may have been 2018 that we lived together.
Mm-mm.
No?
2018, 2019.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yes. And so I don't really know if there was a defining moment or anything that shifted it, because we were just roommates for a while, but that something happened where it definitely turned from roommates to like very intimate and more closed and like walls came down. I want to say there are a couple of moments for me that I remember, and then I'll let you talk. But
it's always so scary.
I want to say one of those moments, I remember it being a Sunday after church, and we had came home, and you're sitting on the couch, and I was in the kitchen, and I don't know how the conversation started, but it was that day I decided to tell you about NARC.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember
and
that.
Everything. Like, I told you everything about the whole situation with him and what was going on. And for me, I think that was probably one of the turning points of like, I was able to be open. I never talked to anyone that deeply about him and our relationship and what was happening there. And so that's one of my moments. So I was like, okay. And I felt more comfortable and started to open up a little more. Another moment that may have been for me, and this will go in a whole different route, so we can save it and talk about it a little later, but there was another night we had conversations. We talked so much, but we had conversation. We were talking about therapy, actually, and previous experiences and going through life and stuff. And I remember after that conversation, we both went to our bedrooms. And this is what I can appreciate and what I love about Amaris. Like, we were 6 feet away and we would still text each other. Like, instead of coming out and talk, we would text each other from our bedrooms. And I remember texting you that night and I said, how do you know, or how did you know that it wasn't just a bad day for you? Because we had talked about that. We would talk about, I think I'm just having a lot of bad days. I don't know if it's something more serious. And it really was way more serious. And I text you, how did you know it was more than a bad day? And then I started to open up a lot more about mental health and stuff that was happening there with me. And so those are two very distinct moments that I felt vulnerable and started to open up, and things truly shifted in our relationship. So
I thought you were going to say the night where I had a mental breakdown and ordered $30 worth of Chick-fil-A and ate 2 bites. That's what I thought you were going to say. You saw me at my worst. Truly. That's funny. I don't remember. The one thing that I remember before meeting you was Morgan is one of my best friends, and I think that I was there visiting, which this timeline kind of adds up, but I'm not really sure. And I was asking her what she was doing that day, and she told me that it was Mother's Day. And she said, I'm going to go spend time with Jeffrica because Mother's Day is really sad for her, and I want to spend some time with her.
My gosh.
And I didn't know anything about you or whatever, but she told me that, and I remember being like, oh, I don't know this person, but...
Wow.
She must be pretty special if you're going to spend some time with her.
And I actually remember that specific Mother's Day. She and I actually went to the movies and went out to eat, and it was just us that day. Yeah. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's the thing that I remember. But as far as our friendship starting, no recollection.
It's very fuzzy for me.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
But I think that what you're saying is what's applicable to everyone as far as like when relationships actually start to be built is when you're willing to let walls down. It's when I'm telling you stuff and in turn you're telling me stuff and vice versa, where we're both opening up and being vulnerable with one another. That's how relationships are built and how they're formed. And so I do remember there being lots of real conversation of things that you wouldn't just tell anyone.
And haven't.
Yeah. And where it was just this place that we both felt very safe to be able to share. And it was a space where it was like, I know that by telling her, I'm getting better. It's not anything that we're going to like. She's not going to give me really terrible advice or whatever. Like, I can trust from seeing her daily walk, you know, that I can trust. Kind of, you know, what's just to say.
I love that. Love that. Something too that kind of helped me to trust you more is because I'm very observant. And so I like to just get to know someone from a distance at first before I become fully transparent. And so I remember when we were living together and I remember seeing your consistency with your walk with God and, you know, hearing you telling me stories and things that you're learning in your Bible. And I'm like, oh, she actually reads the Bible. Like,
it's real for her.
That's the thing. She reads the Bible. She really knows the Lord and is seriously dedicated to living for him. And so that really tells me a lot about a person's heart and character, someone that walks so closely with God. And so it really just started to give me a glimpse of, okay, like I feel like I want to open up a little more and talk a little more and have other conversations because of what I saw in your daily life, in your daily walk with God.
Yeah. I guess my question would be, so like, obviously that's kind of like the genesis of our friendship and it's grown and evolved and that's been awesome. At this point in life, how do you know that you've found a new friend or what are you looking for? What are the qualifications of like someone that is a friend to you?
Good question. Number one, what I just said for sure is being able to see fruits in someone, like their heart and walk with God. That's really important. And also someone that I feel like there's mutual benefits there. So where it doesn't feel one-sided in a relationship or it doesn't feel like there's no reciprocity. I'm the one providing all the energy or making contact or doing different things like that. If I can see that it's someone that is as equally interested in getting to know me and like, you know, pursues and sets dates or phone calls or whatever it is, I'm like, okay, that sparks my interest too. And right now, just very particular with guarding my peace and mind. And so I just sense and pick up on how I feel around a person. Like, is it completely draining to pick up the phone to talk to them? Like, do I look forward to going out to dinner with them? Like, different things like that. What we talk about, are there anything that, you know, we have in common that's important? But generally, overall, for me, it's a feeling. I'm more of a feeling type person. So I can feel and tell if it's someone that I want to be around and someone that maybe should be for a season versus someone that should be there for a lifetime. But definitely prayer helps with that too, asking God the purpose of people. Yeah. So I think before, like when I was younger, I would automatically assume that everyone's supposed to be here forever and everyone's supposed to be in my life forever. And now it's more of a thing where I actually ask God, like, okay, Lord, show me what this person's purpose is in my life. Like, I don't want to assign them a task or assign them a length of time in life, but I ask the Lord to reveal me, you know, is there purpose there? Is this seasonal? Is this something I'm supposed to learn? What is this friendship?
It's amazing, by the way.
So thank you.
It's so good.
Courtesy of me and Starbucks.
It's so good. Wow.
Now you can drink it. So those are a few things I look for
I love that.
in friendships. How about you?
I'm kind of the same way, like discerning things that I see from, you know, sometimes it's a straight up, do not want to be friends with you. But other times it's like, oh, I'm interested in getting to know this person, you know, on a friendly level and just see like if whatever. I have been totally wrong. There's been people that I'm like, I never, ever, ever want to be friends with this person, and then they become like one of my best friends. So, you know, can't always trust what you take at first glance. These days, consistent walk with Jesus, but like also can have fun. That is so important to me. Like, if you're serious all the time, get out. I don't want you. Like, I need to be able to be like silly with you and like dream with you and just like all the different things. Yeah. And I always say this, and this is the hill I am willing to die on. Things in life are difficult. There will be things in life that are difficult. I don't believe that your relationships have to be one of those. Amen. I believe that in relationships, you will experience difficulties and there will be things that pop up, but I don't think that you should look at a friendship and be like, that's a hard friendship. Yeah. Yes. It just doesn't. Yes. And again, like, I'm talking about consistency over time. Like, obviously, if there's a hard season or whatever, and you're looking at that and you're like, right now it's hard, but I've seen glimpses of where it was, and like, that person's just going through a hard time, or I'm having a hard time. Like, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about those friendships that over time have just consistently been like, not life-giving, just draining. Yeah. So that is a huge thing for me. Again, what are you adding? And what am I excited to give? Like, I feel like I want to be excited to be in relationship with someone. Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's good. Another big one for me as you were talking, I thought about it, which is what's important is someone, like, I love someone that's able to celebrate. Like, we can celebrate each other. That speaks volumes and can tell you a lot about a person if they can celebrate with you. Yeah. And they can be happy for you, even if they're not in the best time of their life or they're not in the best season, if they can celebrate you and you can cheer each other on with successes and different things in life. That's really important too. And kind of along those same lines, I'm not going to cry.
Oh, are we? Are we? I was like, that took a turn so quickly. Guess you're crying. What are you crying about?
Along those same lines, I want to say, like, I want to talk about you specifically and how you have been that person for me. Aww. They're coming.
Oh my gosh, we're crying.
They're coming. I laugh when I get nervous. So, but you have been like one of the best persons who is so good at celebrating and so good at encouraging and motivating, and like, you're so good at remembering stuff. Like, you're one of the very few people, besides my brother, actually. And this is something that's super important to me and it really touches my heart. But you're like the only person who reaches out to me and like calls me and texts me on the anniversary of my mom's death. And like, I remember the first time you did that, I was like, how does she even know? Like, how does she remember? And like, you sent me text message and we were together. You like made this gift basket for me and you wrote me cards, and like every year you continue to do that, and I'm like, I don't get that from people that I think I should get that from. I get that from you. And like, that has been the most mind-blowing thing for me, to just to be able to sit and receive that someone thinks about me on that day. And it's consistent in showing love and care for me, and that's such a big thing for me. So thank you for doing that. Thank you for being consistent, and thank you for caring. And even when I'm not able to give or do, you know, in certain seasons of life, specifically for Christmas, like, it's not the happiest time of the year for me. So I'm like, I'm not always in the mood or like even want to go to the store or buy stuff or do anything, and you still give and you still care and you do it without expecting anything in return. So thank you for being
Thanks for telling me that.
Yes.
Friendship, guys. It's the warmest, fuzziest feeling.
Truly. Warmer than the hot chocolate.
Hotter than the hot chocolate. I think one of the things that I value most about our friendship, I mean, not one of the things, the thing that I value the most about our friendship is that God has intentionally put us in like similar seasons of life with everything. And so it just takes a special person, especially like when you're walking with the Lord very intimately and deeply, to be able to reach out and tell you, like, I had another dream. Do you want to listen to my dreams? And you're like, yes, Daniela, I would love to listen to your dream. That's like, for me, that is there's like two people in my life that can do that. It's you and Casey. And so it's really special to me that like we're able to walk with Jesus together. Like, and from that, I feel like we're able to do life together because our whole lives center around, you know, our relationship with Christ. But the fact that like we can text all day long and call and just all the things, you know, like that is really special to have a friend that's consistent in that. And
I love that.
Doesn't judge me when I buy $30 of Chick-fil-A.
Sit in the middle of the floor. I will never forget that night.
I was having
genuine concern, like, what should I do? Breakdown. Do I need to call your mom? What do I do today?
I don't know that she would have been concerned. She would have just been like, oh, another one of those nights. You're just now seeing it. It's fine.
But I was thinking about that too, how we said that the other day, like we met each other at our lowest, like at our darkest moments is when our paths cross, and like to be able to see the progress of where God has brought us from to now. Fun. It's so fun to see the growth and the changes and the experiences, and to be able to call and be excited about and giddy about the smallest things that have changed. And you're equally as excited for me as I am for you. That's really fun to walk through that together.
It is really special to know. I think I said this in like our first podcast, maybe like about goals and stuff. It's really fun to hear you have talked about something 4 years ago and watch that come to life now. Like, it's so fun. And it's especially fun that we're in the same seasons of life, because it's like we're willing to share on a level that we might not be willing to share with someone who's in a different season of life. So like I feel like we get the real and the raw of like what we're feeling, and I'm happy today and I'm crying tomorrow, and the next day I might be crying again, but the next day I'm on this mountaintop, and just like I think it's so fun to get to the end of that and keep going, and like the fact that I'm gonna be able to like literal tell your husband all the things that I know about you, all the things that you've prayed, all the things like that's fun. It's like really doing life with one another, and I feel like on this level is what God intended. Like this is what He intended, and us sharing our struggles and where we're falling short, and not hiding things from one another, and not like this is it's a really special, beautiful.
You're
thing.
my answered prayer, and so I think about that frequently. How God answered my prayer for a best friend in you, because I had previously we were talking about roommate situation. When I went off to college, I roomed with my then best friend. What are you looking for, my dear?
My water. Here. Where did it go? Okay, go ahead.
I roomed with my then best friend from we were friends in middle school and high school, and we moved off to college together and decided it would be wise to live together. Worst decision ever. It was hell. It was pure hell. And so we lived together for one semester of college, and then never again. And like friendship kind of ended after that one semester. And I remember like after I graduated trying to reconnect and rekindle, and it was never the same because we kind of just grew apart. We grew separately. And so that's why I was really apprehensive about, going through that situation again. But I remember asking God for like, will I ever have a closeness with someone like that again, and wanting and desiring that? And He showed me that you're an answered prayer to that. And that's my motivation to know, like, because I've seen Him do it before with you. It's so encouraging to know that God hears me, and He's the same God. And He's going to answer those prayers again.
Why did you never tell me about the...
I didn't tell you that?
I've never one time heard the...
Oh, I was saving it for the pod, I guess.
Years.
Years, yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that. That's amazing.
Yeah, it was rough.
Wow.
But yes, the Lord showed me that restoration is real, and He can restore friendships and build things that were new that I didn't have before. That's amazing. So you give me hope. Like Him answering that prayer through you gives me so much hope about what He can and will do for the future.
That's amazing.
So
what is the, you might have already hit on it, but like, what's the importance of having this level of friendship for you?
For sure, the transparency, because I haven't had that before. I think it's because I haven't felt like, I don't know, maybe it was something in me that I needed to grow to a point where I could be vulnerable and honest about me and my shortcomings and my faults and things that I struggle with. But being able to have someone that is trustworthy, that and I learned that from just practicing. Like some of the things you kind of have to learn by trying. And so I remember like I would try and share stuff and see how it felt and like see where it went after that. And then I would trust a little bit more. And I'm like, okay, I can share a little bit more. And so it was kind of like baby steps getting to that point. But being able to have someone that is there for accountability and someone that is there that I can be transparent with. Honestly, because it's something I desire and something I've always wanted, but haven't felt like I could with anyone until you, honestly, because you know me like no one else knows me. Like no one else in the world knows me on the level that you do. And it just shows me, it helps me in my relationship with God as well. Like shows me how I can be the same way with him because I feel the same level of comfort and intimacy with you as I do with him. So it's very reflective for me and it helps me to grow in that way too. So I would say those two things with transparency and accountability has really helped to remove the mask for me. Because I'm able to do that with you, it helps me to realize like I don't have to wear these masks. I can be vulnerable and I can be open with other people because I'm not alone in this.
I think when you allow someone to love you for you, it gives you permission to then be the person that you already are, you know? It's like, I don't know. I remember I had a friend who like similar probably to me, but it's just so much easier to see it in someone else, but like was always trying to achieve this certain thing, and I'm like, I just wish you understood how great you are now. Like you're trying to do all these things to be this person and you're already that person. Like you're already incredible and amazing, and I feel the same way with you, you know, like it's been really cool to see you come into that and just amazing. Do you feel like you have enough friends?
Actually, no. At this point in season in life, I don't. Like, I'm in a way different place now than I've been previously. If you were asking me that a few years ago, I would definitely have said yes. There's been some intentional pruning and some chopping and some snips that has happened necessarily that have happened. And so now I'm in a point and position where I'm praying to God for more of those divine friendships. And you said a word a few months ago. You told me someone said it, but kingdom of friendships is what I'm praying for now. And so I definitely feel like I need more of those people around me. So those are prayers that I'm asking God for and asking for him to send me. Because I do desire it. Like, I love relationships.
You're
I love
so
people.
good at relationships.
Like, and so I'm like, I want more. I feel like I need to have more around me. And so that's where I'm at in getting that. What about you?
I think on the best friend level, I'm good. I feel like God's given me some really, really great friends. I feel like my entire life I can say I've been surrounded by amazing, incredible people. And I think I've always been super intentional with who I chose to be my friend. I don't know why I thought it was so special that they needed to like fit this box, but like
Amaris Kate.
I really have pretty much like I've chosen friends really well. I think the thing that, and I've told you this, the thing that I'm working on is building community where I am, because all of my friends, like all of my best friends live everywhere, which is really nice. One, for traveling, and two,
except Florida.
Yeah, she has to come here because I refuse to ever step foot back in the state. But anyway, so I feel like that's what I've been praying for, is like local community. You know, like it's good for you to have friends that you can call and be like, hey, let's go to a movie, or hey, let's do whatever. So that's what I've been praying for here. I have one best friend here. Her name's Brenna. I'm in her wedding in April. Yay. We love Brenna. But that's kind of been like the extent of the real deep community that I've formed. Of course, I have other friends and stuff around, which is great. Yeah. But something I've struggled with, which is very opposite of you said that you've been intentionally pruning. I, on the other hand, have had friendships that maybe I was holding on to that disappeared out of nowhere. Like, people that were nowhere near the level of friendship that we are, and honestly didn't even meet kind of the first criteria of like walking with the Lord very deeply, but just people that I really enjoyed like spending time with and we're funny and people from high school maybe,
history,
you know. Yeah. It's history. And I have had actually 2 or 3 that like one day we were talking and the very next day, nothing. Never a reason, never a thing, just have never responded to any text I've sent since. And I'm like,
AKA ghosting.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
But for the best.
For none of them, I mean, obviously when that happens, it's like painful. It's like, what did I do? You know, like, I really pride myself on trying to like be intentional with my friendships and reach out and do all, you know, all the things that I would think that I need to do to sustain a friendship. So those were really painful. But I mean, you can't tell me that that wasn't the Lord, you know, like very, very clearly, very obviously, which is like the thing that he's been teaching me is like, keep your hands open. Open hands. Don't hold so tightly on that. Like you are praying for kingdom friendships and yet you're holding on to these friendships that like are so in the past that they don't even matter, you know? But it doesn't make the sting any...
That's true.
Any easier.
That's true. And we've talked about that a little bit too, because that's a very common thing in a lot of people's lives is that no one told me as an adult that I would have to get rid of some friends or like that friendships were in. And so these are things that happened to me in younger years. And I'm like, oh, I didn't know this was a part of life until it started to happen. And now as an adult, I see it happening and I'm like, okay, this is a part of life. But I get that question a lot, even with some other friends in my life of like, how do you know when your season is ending with someone? Like, how do you know you need to transition that friendship? How do you have that conversation? What does that look like? Because it should be a conversation.
Because it should be a conversation.
It shouldn't be just actions and leaving.
Yeah.
And so what are your thoughts on some of that? Like, how do you know if it's time for someone to transition out of your life or that the season is up for a friendship?
I think you can always tell when you're outgrowing someone. There's always this tension and this, for example, when I can speak to one specific one where you're trying to move forward and they're still stuck in the talking about the same things, ruminating on the same whatever, and they're here and you are there, like totally different, but yet there's still this trauma bond in that specific instance.
That's real.
Where it's like, oh man, I love this person and we went through this and came out on the other side and like we should be friends for life. But like it just is not it's probably not benefiting either of us because I'm trying to move forward and I'm trying to talk you there and you don't want to be there. So I'm annoying you and it's just not, you know, super healthy. So I feel like that is probably for me, the thing that I notice the most is like the level of just outgrow. It doesn't fit. It doesn't make sense anymore, you know? Do I wish we could have had a conversation about that? Sure. You know? Do I think I ever would have let that friendship go? Probably not.
Wow.
Probably not because it wasn't someone that was here. If it was something that I was seeing every day, for sure. But the fact that it was such a distant thing, I easily could say, I'll see that person one time a year. We chat like every 4 months, you know, not really like a big deal.
Interesting.
So, what are your thoughts?
I think you're right. I think you can definitely feel and sense when you're growing apart. And with this particular person I was having a conversation with a couple of weeks ago, she was like, I know we're at that point. How do I have the conversation? Like, she's like me. She's like, how do I even start the conversation? What do I say without making it seem like I'm better than you and that I've changed and like you're still there and I moved on? Because it can come across like that, especially if you may be dealing with someone that's not as mature or someone, you know, that may be insecure, doesn't know how to handle those type of grown-up conversations. Where do I start? How do I say? And I kind of advised her a little. I was like, well, maybe kind of make it more about you and less about her, about, you know, where you are and what you think your path is now in life and how it doesn't really make sense anymore and how, you know, you kind of feel like you're drifting away, but don't make it seem like it's because she's a bad person. No. Like, you don't want to go that route, but make the focus more about you and where you're growing and what you want. And what you don't really feel like you're getting in this current friendship. And
step one is to acknowledge that, like, no matter what, that's not going to be an easy conversation.
Yeah.
No matter what, feelings are probably going to be hurt. And, you know, like, it's Yeah.
Yep. All of that.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was more, for this person, it was definitely more of a fear of like, oh my God, I'm so scared. I don't want to have the conversation. So I was like, what's your alternative to just have this person tagging along with you for the next couple of years, to continue to ignore phone calls or to not respond? Like, do you want that life, or do you want to just have the conversation and snip it?
Yeah.
And so it's one that's going to happen, that's coming up soon. But she was like, I just didn't know, I would have to do this as an adult.
Yeah.
I didn't know these things would come up. And so she's kind of practicing with this first one. And I thought that was something that's actually really common, that we don't talk about, or we're not taught, or, we don't learn this as kids, that we have to do these things as an adult.
Yeah.
And so those are conversations we're having now in our circle.
For the first time ever, I have my phone out and I'm not looking up a scripture.
I knew you were. I just knew you were. He sticks closer than a brother. He's a friend.
I watched this movie recently called Banshees of Inisherin. It's like nominated for a few Academy Awards. And it's about friendship, and it's about this guy. I told you about this. It's about this guy. Watch it. I won't give everything away. But
what's the name of it again?
Banshees of Inisherin.
I can't even say that. But okay.
It's an Irish movie. But the whole thing is about this guy who decides that his best friend no longer fits the view that he has for his life. And it does, like, he wants to leave a legacy, and that guy can't fit into the legacy that he desires to leave. And so it follows that path and that story, and I'm like, that is so real. And it's like, it's interesting because you watch movies all the time, and rarely ever is it based on a friendship and without it being any like big exploding drama or just like, hey, we just outgrown each other. Like,
interesting.
It's really good. You guys should watch it.
Very interesting. You said, I remember in our conversation, maybe it was last week or week before last, but we were talking about the same subject, and I was like, we have to record and talk about it. But you said something that really stuck out to me, and I'm like, what a great point to make. You said, in one of your relationships, you knew it was time to move on because the person was in the same place that you left them. I said, oh my gosh, what an eye-opening perspective is for someone to still be in the same place that you left them maybe a few years ago or whatever it may be, and you have to not be in that place anymore.
It's complete shock when you have been doing the work of growing and doing the work of healing and all of that, and to come to someone who went through a similar experience or different experience, and you were just growing in life, and to come back and that person not have grown at all. It, again, makes me pray even harder for the person I'm going to marry. Like, we have to be growing. Like, you have to be okay with change. You have to be okay with this, because the tension that you feel when someone, I'm like, you're still here.
By choice.
By choice. And I'm like, there's a lot of compassion that I have, because I have been that person that has been stuck on a cycle that's not moving. But it's like, man, do you hear that we're talking about the same thing we were talking about 2 years ago? Cycles. So, and honestly, when you ask that question, it's like, the biggest indicator for me is it's growth.
And that can look like growth in many different ways. For sure. It could be, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Like, you can be stuck in the same place in a lot of different ways. But I think that's also the point when I make the decisions to get off the train. Like, I had to make a decision like that over the last few years several times of like, that's called chaos and insanity. Like, we're doing the same things. We're having the same conversations, same results, and you're not making any decisions to change your situation. Like, if someone continues to come with me with the same problems and we're having the same conversations, but I'm not seeing any change happen, I'm not wasting my breath anymore. Like, I'm going to make a tough decision to jump off this emotional roller coaster, and I'm going to move on. And that's so difficult. But being people who love our people and love our relationships, that has been the hardest thing I've had to do as an adult, is to make those decisions with certain relationships. But it's also been the most freeing decision as well.
My question for you, and a question that people might have who are listening, how do you know it's time to get off the train, and how do you know that it's just not a season?
Consult with the Holy Spirit. That's a deep one. Like, I don't think you can make that decision in your own might. I think that's definitely a prayer call. But I like to look at relationships holistically and look at them over time and range. And it's what you said earlier. Like, is this just the season that we're in and, we can move out or it can change? Or have I noticed the same pattern over the years and over the months? Have nothing has ever changed from that? So I think it's a combination of the prayer and asking God and Holy Spirit and all that, but also observation from friendship span and time and years. And if you see any type of desire to change, any glimpse of hope that someone wants to do something different or is looking for accountability or is looking to change, I have compassion there. I can help that. I can support that if I see you actually taking initiative and trying to have actions to change something that's going on. But,
and have you had a conversation? Because if you call yourself someone's friend, you have to have tough conversations. It shouldn't just be like, well, this person just and have you talked to them about what you've seen and what you've observed and offered insight or help if they've wanted it? I just finished reading the worst book of all time. It was actually written very well, so I'm really sad that I didn't love this book, but it's called A Little Life. Everyone raves about this book, and I understand why. I understand the story is very moving. But the author describes this book as a story of friendship. And I describe it as a book of people who failed one another. Because it was like, we're going to sidestep around every issue that we have.
Wow.
And we're unwilling to have the really tough conversations that might actually move someone to a different result. The more that I think about it, I'm like, no one ever really tried to help this person. You decided that you were going to play ball. And this person asked, didn't want to confront something, and they kept asking you to stay there, and you were like, yeah, next time. If it happens again, we'll confront it. And it's that's not true friendship. If you have a friendship that you value, then it has to be uncomfortable at times.
Agreed.
I feel like we do that, and I don't feel like it feels heavy.
It doesn't. Yeah. Agreed. Yes. Yeah. You're quick to call me out. Yeah, for sure. For sure. But we're at that place where we're mature enough to receive it. And so let's add that to the list. When you ask me, what do I look for? That's definitely a qualification that's important, is someone that's receptive of feedback and someone that's open and willing to change. That's a huge one for friendships, relationships, marriages, whatever, is someone that isn't going to be so stuck in their own ways and stuck in tradition that you can't change and do something different. Yeah. Really important. Yeah. So
what would you say, as we kind of wrap this up, what would you say to someone who feels like, my life's fine, I don't really need the same way that I said yesterday, with whoever I marry, unless you're I'm good, unless you're bringing something great to the table, I'm good, What would you say to a person who's kind of doing life alone and is okay with that?
One, I think that's a very skewed perspective, because there's not any more insight into that view. And so I guess I would say you don't really know what you're missing out on because you're not been open enough to try something different or to experience something else. But I always say, imagine what could be and what's out there that you're not experiencing, because maybe you feel like you have it all together, or, maybe you're good with being isolated and on your own. Things could always be so much better if you just try and maybe, put yourself out there and maybe have some interactions and encounters. But the biggest thing for me is that you only have one perspective. If you're your only opinion that you hear and you're the only voice that you hear, how do you know if you're being closed off to so many other views or perspectives or outlooks or experiences with other people if you're your deciding factor for everything? So that would be the biggest one for me. Is that I don't want to be the only voice that I see or hear for anything that I have to do, because it wouldn't be a well-rounded opinion or viewpoint.
I totally agree.
Last question. What has been your favorite memory so far of our time together?
Of our friendship? What a heavy memory thing. You're not going to guess what I'm about to say.
Oh, God. I'm almost scared now.
You are not going to guess what I'm about to say. Because we've traveled and been everywhere and done whatever. But my favorite,
oh God,
favorite
I'm about to be embarrassed.
memory. I would never say anything that was embarrassing. Do you know me? Was the night that you cooked the Nigerian food and we watched the Nigerian movie.
What?
Do you remember? What? Do you remember that? You had Nigerian music playing and you were cooking Nigerian food and it was so good. And then we watched a Nigerian, what are they called? Nigerian movie. Because you thought you were marrying a Nigerian? No, you couldn't have expected that.
That's what you picked?
Yes, it was so fun.
You enjoyed that?
It was so fun. It was so fun because, for a few reasons. Okay, let me break this down so you're not just like, what in the world? One, you were so happy doing it. You were just like dancing around. It was, you were so happy. Two, it was very like, it was very you. Like if there was ever... Why are you laughing so hard? I'm trying to be serious at this point.
Because you always call me a Nigerian housewife.
Yes, I do. Because, I mean, let's be real. But like, I guess my favorite memory of us is something that I could see you in. Like, it was really fun to see you just like in your element, so happy, and like to see that actually will be your future. Like, I had no part in this. I was just enjoying the whole, like, you made it such an experience and so fun that it was like really cool to see kind of like, honestly, you and your element and you and your future. It was really cool.
Wow.
That's my favorite.
Because I had like the whole Nigerian flag on the TV and everything.
Everything.
It was a whole vibe.
It was a whole thing. You had music, you were cooking. The food was so good. And then you made me watch a Nigerian movie that I don't think we even finished because it was like pretty tragic.
Horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Never in a million years.
I knew you wouldn't guess that.
Never.
No.
I'm surprised you remembered that.
Honestly, me too. What would you say?
Oh my gosh. Hilarious. There's so many. There's so many. I have so many videos of you that you don't even know.
That's funny. You sent me one the other day.
One singing The Preacher's Wife in the kitchen.
No shame in my game.
There's so many. I would say one that continually sticks out to me now was definitely our trip to Hawaii.
Of course.
Like, specific memory is when we went to Kona and we were in the convertible Mustang and we were driving up the mountain and like this incredible sunset was in the back and like we're listening to the music and I'm like, Amaris, this moment.
It's a friendship defining moment.
Yes. Yeah. I said, if ever I lose my way in life, if ever anything happens and I'm in a dark place, bring me back to this
Rent
moment.
a convertible and go to the top of the mountain.
Yes. That was so
on the big
beautiful.
Island.
I will never forget, like, hair blowing in the wind and the sun setting behind us and us stopping on the side of the road
on
to get
the water.
pictures.
Yeah.
It was so magical.
It was perfect.
It was like no one else was out there but us. And it was, I can vividly see that memory forever in my brain. Yeah. It was beautiful.
Fun.
I love it.
Yeah.
Next trip. Loading.
Where are we going? Oh, we're going to Israel.
We're going to
where are we going? We already know where we're going. Super fun.
Wow.
Cool. Well, you know, our friendship is going to be interwoven into every single episode, but it was really cool to do a friendship episode with you.
Agreed. And share new news that you didn't know.
Yeah, had no clue. Lots of things I didn't know. So,
lovely.
Okay, we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.